Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to our show today. And today we are pleased and privileged to have as a guest Mr. Srinivas Naidu. Mr. Srinivas Naidu is a PhD from the University of Hard Knocks. He's learned through trials and tribulations in his life right from a very young age on what struggle is, working his way from being a mechanic in a garage, selling Eureka Forbes, working for a refrigeration company, working for an IT services company, then starting his own IT service company, doing very well, holding the largest number of .com sites, like being the GoDaddy of those years in the 1990s before going bust, and then rejuvenating his career into event management, learning graphic design, being a veteran at graphic design, going through commercial interiors. We'll get to know more about him as we get into the interview today. So please welcome Mr. Srinivas Naidu.
Thank you, Shetty. This is the welcome what we have nowadays.
True, with
Namaste.
Namaste.
Thank you very much for calling me on your show and for having invited me for this talk. Let me see how best I can do for you, because I know knowledge shared is knowledge gained, they say. Yeah, thank you very much once again, and we can start.
First job that you took up after you left school?
It would be very difficult to say on a camera like what was the first job I did, but just for the records, I don't mind saying it that my first job which I took up was in a garage as an I don't know what designation to give to that, because it was just I was like an assistant to all the mechanics working there. I need to hand over the spanner लेके आ, stepney लेके आ, गाड़ी धो, paper लेके आ, paper लेके आ. It was some that kind of a job which I started off with.
How long were you at this job?
It was a shorter duration because I kept switching on jobs. That time I was trying to, I was trying to look for a better profile each time. So I switched. It was a period of 6 months. Then after that something similar, but I joined in a refrigeration company where they used to build refrigerator units and do servicing and of AC units.
Right.
So there also I joined an assistant as a helper there. So there again, it was the same kind of thing. I was working under some skilled people. I was trying to learn certain things. So that is how it went on. Like the career of that profile, it continued, it stayed with me for quite some time before I came into the corporate segment, what you call like sales and marketing, like say like a formal dress with a tie kind of thing. It took some time for me to come to that level.
So from what I understand, based on the conversations that we have had, that apart from being in the refrigeration industry, working in a garage, did you also do Eureka Forbes sales for some time?
Yeah, that was, I said, the small bits and pieces of this garage and refrigeration and services and all those things. That is what brought me to Bangalore, and that is when I came across this interview for Eureka Forbes. It's a walk-in interview, which I was never trained or understood what exactly it is going to be like.
Right.
It was just a walk-in interview, so I had to borrow a shirt, formal shirt and a tie for my friend and my cousin. I just attended the interview and I just came off with that. Like.
And how many door calls were you supposed to do when you were working with Eureka Forbes? How many visits were you supposed to do every day on the job?
Like door calls and such, we had to start a bit early as around 7 a.m.
Okay.
And it had to go up to till the late afternoon. So we had to cover up minimum of 100 doors we had to knock. So database of 100 people we used to collect by that time. And the number of door knocks were 100. The reason being is, it's not that target was 100. It was to find a prospective customers for us to give you an appointment in the second half to give the demo of the product so that we can close. So like we have say 5 appointments fixed, out of that we need to close the 3 orders. So that was then the Eureka Forbes, the style of working. It was very aggressive marketing, and as you are aware of it, like we are being called that time as Eureka dogs. In few of the apartments were not allowed because of our aggressive selling. So that was a good learning experience for me as a sales part of it, and interacting with different kind of clients and working in a very aggressive environment. It quite built up to my profile also same time.
So after the Eureka Forbes company, you were working for the refrigeration company, or refrigeration was just before Eureka Forbes?
No, it was the refrigeration. All this helper job and assistance job was all much before Eureka Forbes.
Right.
It was just my foundation, you can say, like where I started from the scratch.
And was this after this that you started the website company with other friends and partners, or was this when you joined the event management sector?
No, it was Eureka Forbes was in the year 1993. I think it was just that time the IT started in India. Like they were talking about email and all those things, and that is when the Aptech also started some courses on training and things. So that is when I got into this Aptech training program also. So assuming that it's better to be well equipped with the future what is going to be. But I joined it for 2 years diploma course, tried to do something on it, tried to understand. But at the end of the day, just I landed up understanding the concept of what is IT. So after Eureka Forbes, I did this training program in Aptech. Along with that, also I was working for some office automation company dealers and all, selling their products as a part-time. After that, I got into the IT industry. Like I started working for some company. We're into website designing, domain name registration, and all those things. It was the later part again around the late 90s. That is where I started my own company with my friends. A group of friends came together and we started doing IT services.
And
So
which
that
one
was
of these companies you were saying that you were holding the largest number of .com site URLs with you?
It was a company that we bought from one of our known associates. It was called Netra Consulting Private Limited. So we had around 3,500 domain names with us. And along with that, we were doing web designing and all those things. Yeah, it was a boom time, like the .coms were doing very well and IT industry was at the peak that time. It was during those days.
And when did you start venturing into graphic design, which is now a key part of what you do as a freelancer?
It was in the days of this IT, like when we were doing website designing. So I was not a skilled or learned designer, or I underwent any course kind of thing. I had a team of people like who used to do the designing part of it. So me being had some eye for creativity and visualization, so I used to guide my designers how to do it. But I didn't know any of the tools to operate. It's only after the IT industry, when I gave up the IT industry due to our own reasons, then I got into events. When I went to Bombay, I joined a company. That is where I started my first designing the logo for the company, which is now called as Platinum World. They are the one of the largest in the industry, in the MICE industry and the weddings industry.
So by MICE you mean meetings, incentives, conferences and exhibitions?
Yes.
So and post that you've been working in the event industry consistently?
Yeah, after that I came back to Bangalore along with my friend whom I knew for a certain time. I started associating myself with him for designing of backdrops and stage design themes for events for corporates.
And also you did work with schools for plays and quiz shows.
Yeah, it was annual days for the school annual days what we have. Like we used to get around 1,000 children on stage. So my involvement would be like right from the production of the entire play to the stage design, stage execution, the play, the sound and light and everything. So as a whole, I used to take care of the entire as a production guy. And about the quiz shows, initially I worked as a consultant to Grey Caps for publication of their GK books. But at the later part, then I started doing a lot of jobs for them on collaterals and building their brands for other different schools, like quiz shows. Like one of them is like Presidency Quiz.
I believe you also worked at the TCS IT Viz.
Yeah, those are initial days, like when the project was piloted, I was a part of it. So I've done the creatives for that, as well as even the Tata Crucible. It started in the year of 2004, I believe. We started with 3 or 4 cities that time. Now it has gone up to 60 cities. So nice to be part of such pilot projects. I was part of with good brands. I worked with Infosys, called as Aspirations 2020. It was a multi-city event. We covered the South India two tier cities for all the engineering colleges and schools. Those part.
And after your stint with Grey Caps, where you worked with educational institutions, corporates, on building their publications, quiz shows, you got an opportunity to go overseas and work in the Middle East.
Yeah, all this like various in the clientele I've worked with, right from financial institutions to education institutions, corporates. So, but I used to be work as a consultant to various event companies here. So I got an opportunity to work with very nice, good brands in the market like Goldman Sachs, you say, or we have AXA Industries was there, AXA company. Then we had Chinnaswamy Stadium KSCA, that is what is called as. So a lot of various people like this from small to big brands I've worked with and done a lot of
So-
collateral works for them.
So what led you to, leave all of this behind in India to take up the opportunity in the Middle East? How different was the opportunity? Was it similar work? Was it, more challenging work, which got you excited and enthusiastic to take up this opportunity in the Middle East? What was that about?
The Middle East opportunity was nothing. It was a dream for me. It was always I live on my dreams. I dream a lot. That I live on my dreams so that dreams come true. I believe in that. So I had dreams long back before I started my career that I wanted to go to Gulf and like every person like. But this just happened to me. Middle East happened to go for one of the quiz shows with my quiz team. I met one of my old associates. So he was owning a production house there. So I just told him that this is a place where I want to work. I want to explore my creativity, my ideas. And I heard that yes, Middle East is full of money. They don't mind experimenting and spend money on any kind of production. They are open to ideas and creativity. So that is what made me go there. And yes, after landing there, it was a complete different story altogether. Like it is not that easy like what we think. Yeah, there is money and we can make like whatever we want, we can sell it. It's restricted to their own guidelines. It's not that easy as we think about it. So there my industry had to change a little apart from publication, designing, everything. I switched on to more of client handling like project management. So we are more into trade shows like creating exhibiting booths or setting up an entire exhibition for SMEs or some corporate. So that was my activities, as well as we got into commercial interiors, setting up showrooms, doing offices. And in Middle East, like we had, I was handling clients like Samsung, Panasonic, Samsonite. Al Futtaim is a very big name there. So quite a lot of.
You also worked with
Yes.
some automobile brands you were mentioning.
Like we have done a lot of automobile launches for the agencies. What we used to service as a production house. Like we had a agency by name Souza Events. Through Souza Events, we have done a lot of product launches activities for Ferrari and Maserati. Maserati, we have done Middle East launch, that is Oman and Qatar for them. So it was one of the landmarks for the brand as well as for the agency, that it's one of its kind, the launch what we did for them. So like this various, that work was very challenging, but at the same time I got opportunity to work with very good international brands and international community, rather I would say, like how they function, how they work. Got to learn lot many things, which I think it was a very good exposure for me. So it was then I moved on to Dubai for a year and a half. It's our sister company only from Muscat. So there 1.5 years I worked in Dubai. It was also good experience. We did some good projects and we managed to execute quite challenging projects there. One of them is a landmark in Dubai now, like it's called as Garage Cafe there in Dubai. It's a shisha lounge what we did. It functions 24 hours. So it was more interesting, I would say, because the entire deal was closed in 24 hours. The concept note, the mood board, everything, ideas was floated in 24 hours. And it was just, we just connected with the client. Like I had created all the mood board, how the theme goes, what exactly elements will be there. So the client clicked, we connected well, and it was just happening, and we started the project. And we estimated, like normally in the given conditions in UAE, with all the permissions and approvals, it's a 9 to 12 months of process. But we achieved this within 6 months with working properly on a documentation work, on processing and authorize the authority approvals, everything. We tried to make everything fall in place. and that is how we completed that project.
I've heard from people who visited the Garage Cafe that they found this unique, quirky element of something which they see in the corporate world in the cafe, and they were very happy to see it here. Usually in noisy pubs, when you get a call, you want to take a call, official call or a personal call, you're shouting at the top of your voice because you can't talk on the phone. I believe they found this really useful element in the design where there is a booth which you can get into.
Yeah,
So what's it
the
exactly?
reason
How
of
did
giving
you
that
do
booth
it?
was, it was because Garage Cafe, if you see, like if you look at the pictures or something, what we tried to do was to bring the elements of the entire street kind of a feel. So we brought some European style of seating and the street, so that in Europe, if you see, like you have this telephone booths, the red color ones, which is unique. So what it struck an idea for me, like why don't we give this element in that? Because being a shisha cafe and they had live music and everything, so obviously the people who come in the daytime to have shisha there, they'll be office people, or they would like to have, they'll be getting an office call, so they not go out of the premises. So within the cafe itself, I thought of giving a telephone booth to them, so that it is a one, it cuts the entire noise and silence. And along with that, we had a noise installation, the audio installation. Like, and choose what audio you want to play in the background. Suppose you are want to fake your friend that you're somewhere in the market, you can play and choose the audio what you want. Or you want to tell your wife you're in the office, you can play the office background. Or you want to tell your office you're at
Interesting.
some place, just using the background. It's nothing but just it's humorous, but it works out for somebody for advantage and some people for disadvantage. So, but it's a concept, we try to bring it there in that.
I believe it's a
And-
big hit in Dubai. Everybody likes this amongst the
Yeah, they
other
like it and they are
ambience,
quite
yeah.
thrilled about it. And in that we have cut Beetle cars into half. Like during our days, it was a love bug. We used to call the car. So I
Right.
had an opportunity to cut it into half. I don't know if I'm cutting somebody's heart by saying this, but I had to cut this car into half and make a seating for people. It was really amazing and it's very hit, and they have got 24 hours of running operations also complete. But now, due to this COVID, I think it is just shut down for operational safety reasons. But once if you happen to visit, it's an amazing place and experience for you.
So now you've come back to India, and as you continue to do freelance design and consult for interior design and commercial design, you've now taken on another leap of faith by getting a totally new career by being a lead customer success manager for a global movie production house on the trailer team. So how's life different now for you?
It's quite interesting. Like always, I heard like people saying like this is my first inning, this is my second inning, and it happened to me like this is my second inning of my career. Like completely a different job role I'm handling. What I have been doing all these years of 25, 30 years, it's a complete thing. Like which I always wanted to bring this process in my past work, which never happened. But now I'm working in industry where all processes are followed. So we follow a process and have an excellent team to work with, and it's just amazing. It's fun to work, and it's same time learning new things. It's a challenge for us to execute these things, and for me it's a challenging role, and it's a bit. I can't say it's easy. I can't say tough. Also, yes, I'm learning and I'm doing things. I'm progressing well with that. Apart from our job role, they allow us to do other activities what we want to pursue into. Like my passion is my designing, creativity, consulting on interiors. So they are quite open to, the company is given an open hand. Like other than we can do any other jobs we want. So this gives me the privilege to reach out to people who need my services. So I do that, and yeah, I network myself a lot with people on all types of social medias. I need not name the name of the social medias, but yes, I am on most of the platforms and trying to connect with people and see how I can explore my skills more and how I can extend my services to people and give it across to them.
So as we're discussing, Srinivas, you're often known to tell colleagues, do what you love. And even though it kind of sounds like Steve Jobs saying it, but we believe that this comes because of an advice somebody gave you. So we'd like to hear from you the origin story of why you ask people to do what you love and love what you do. and that's the success. That's the key to success of your career, of having multiple innings. I know you say 2 innings, but I see each one of this as separate innings. You've done quite a bit in your life.
I don't exactly remember Shravan on this. Like just recently, I watched one web series called Patal Lok. It says you love your dog, that means you're a good man, and but if the dog loves you, that means you're a good man. So it's something that way it is. Like you have to love what you're doing. So only because love teaches you many things, it gives you very good experience of life, experience of work or relationship, anything. Love teaches you everything. And
you're also a follower of Osho, right? And Osho also speaks about love.
Osho speaks about many things that way, but I don't talk much about like Osho and all. But yes, Osho, sometimes he speaks sense.
A lot of people who work with you call you Guruji as well.
No, that's the tagline I've got it, maybe because of my grey beard or something like that. They might be calling me as a Guruji, but nothing as such. But yes, I would love to become a Guruji one day in my life with all the experience and all the knowledge what I'm gaining in my life. Yes, I would like to be one day. But not a Guruji or something. I'm good as Srinivas or Srini is.
So it's great that you're self-aware. You were just telling me before we began this interview session that you're considering embarking on a new career innings as a life coach and counselor. You're learning to be a counselor now as well, because you've often found youngsters and people around you come to you for advice.
No, I wouldn't say as a life coach or as a counselor or anything. I would like to say that I like to be their ears. Basically, I would like to listen to them, because that's it. Only I can listen to them, and whatever best I can suggest to them, I want to give them my ideas or share my experience. And if they can pick up something from that which is good for them, it works out, yes. But today we call it as life coach and counseling. I would like to term it as like I want to share my experience. You pick up what you want to pick up from that, which can be good for you. If you can connect it with that, that is how we can connect well.
I think what the world needs is empathy and a pair of ears which listen, which I definitely need to learn from you. On that note, I wish you a great future. All the best for your next innings.
Thank you very much, and thank you, Venkat, for all the effort you're taking to capture us. It's nice having you.